An Aggie tradition connecting past and present, how the community is coming together around the world. And exploring new horizons, Sam Houston students diving into the metaverse with a new academic program. Your Krhd News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is KRHD News.
Aggie Muster brings together students and alumni from all across the globe. KRHD reporter Rebecca Fiedler shares the stories of Aggies who are taking part overseas.
This time-honored day of fellowship, bonding, and memorial is celebrated from Honduras to Saudi Arabia, from India to Germany. And dozens of Aggies will be holding their own services in international homes, restaurants, and military bases. Recent Aggie grad and soon-to-be med student Brock Jones has spent several months in Buenos Aires, Argentina, volunteering with a homeless shelter and school run by nuns. He hadn't met a fellow Aggie down there yet, but he wasn't going to miss an opportunity to celebrate muster.
I went onto the association's website, put a muster announcement for Buenos Aires, and then had a few people reach out. And so tonight, I'm going over to meet him for the first time. I think he's a class of like 75 Aggie. And so I'm going over to his house, and there's going to be a few other Aggies there as well. They'll eat a meal and share some stories about their times at Texas A&M. 8,200 miles away, stationed with the Navy in Bahrain, U.S. service member Christina Goldstein, class of 2015, just finished celebrating with several fellow sailors in a shopping mall restaurant.
We mostly just chatted, shared our stories and everything.
Goldstein says they weren't able to sing the Aggie war hymn as Bahrainians are celebrating Ramadan. So she recited the last Corps trip and Corridor story instead. Goldstein found a roll call subject too, one that is so important.
But unfortunately, suicide is still a huge thing in the military as well as in civilian life too. So I said, so any person who died because of suicide, I will call them. I will say here for them.
While their experiences are different, these Ags feel a connection, linked together by a common spirit.
Aggies are always there to support Aggies and to meet other Aggies and to see, to share life and to share stories and remember the university that we all hold so dear.
Reporting in Bryan, Rebecca Fiedler, KRHD News.
Along with muster ceremonies, another muster day tradition made its return, the annual muster barbecue. The barbecue, also known as the camaraderie barbecue, returned for the first time in 2 years after having been canceled and adjusted as a result of COVID-19. Along with the barbecue lunch, guests were also entertained by the Aggie Wranglers dance team, yell leaders, and pictures with Reveille.
Compared to last year where we had vouchers, it's very, very different because people last year, they would come, they would leave, and there was not a whole lot of that community. And this year, having people actually able to sit down, talk with others, talk with the class of 72, it's a really good feeling to see everyone actually all together and talking rather than just showing up and leaving.
This year's muster barbecue also welcomed back alumni from the class of 1972 who were there to share stories and old traditions of A&M. Hosted on A&M's campus, MSC OPAS announced their annual lineup for the 50th anniversary season Wednesday night. The season's theme, the Golden Anniversary Season, based around the past, present, and future, highlighting the return of previous favorites as well as new touring productions. This season's headlining shows feature Broadway musical hits Waitress, Anastasia, My Fair Lady, and Stomp. In addition to the main stage shows, the Intimate Gatherings and Singular Sensations series will feature unique performances, including the first national tour of our planet. Live in concert tickets go on sale June 1st. The Brazos Valley community came together in a big way to support local law enforcement. Operation Safe Shield, a relatively new organization in College Station, held its first ever fundraiser Thursday. Organizers like Clifford Dorn had low expectations for the turnout, but as it turns out, he was wrong. They raised over $300,000.
the turnout was incredible. We had lots of law enforcement. We had judges, sheriffs, the police chiefs. We had business owners. We had just people from off the street, just regular individuals coming in supporting us. So it was incredible to see the support behind our law enforcement community.
He says the money will go toward equipping 45 local cop cars with bullet-resistant windows. Thousands of Ford vehicles on the road right now have been recalled. The automaker recalled more than 650,000 pickup trucks and SUVs. The company says the windshield wipers can break and fail. The recall covers certain F-150 pickups, Ford Expeditions, and Lincoln Navigators. Ford's F-Series pickups are the top-selling vehicles in the U.S. Dealers will replace both front windshield wiper arms. Owners impacted by the recall will be notified next month. Farmers need to be on the lookout for potential hackers. That's according to a warning from the FBI on Wednesday. Officials say cyber criminals might go after agriculture cooperatives during planting and harvesting seasons, believing they could be more vulnerable and willing to pay off extortion. The FBI says 6 grain companies were targeted last fall and 2 others have already been attacked this year. In a public advisory, federal officials say a major disruption of grain production would impact the entire food chain. Mass comm students at Sam Houston State are experiencing new media through the metaverse. 25 News reporter Diamond Dixon shows us the new ways it's shaping college education. With NASA making plans to return to the moon with future planetary missions, researchers at Texas A&M University are working to develop improved spacesuits for astronauts. Working in conjunction with Cornell University, experts in A&M's Department of Aerospace Engineering are developing a smart spacesuit. The suit will be used for extra activity on planetary surfaces and will provide 3 major improvements to current spacesuit designs, such as increased mobility, enhanced safety, and supporting knee joints.
Any gas pressurized spacesuit is gonna have some sort of mobility problems or mobility issues. So this technology we are hoping to combine with current gas pressurized spacesuits or future gas pressurized spacesuits to really help a little bit more facilitating that mobility.
The research in smart spacesuits designs will focus on more lower body movement. Current spacesuits place lots of fatigue on astronauts during scenarios where lower body movement, such as walking and kneeling, is needed.
Inflation is driving up the cost of just about everything right now, but healthcare is especially taking a hard hit. Typically, inflation on healthcare is around 2 times higher than anything else. Healthcare benefit experts find it's usually about 6%. A recent study from HealthView Services projects healthcare inflation will stay at nearly 12% this year and next year. It's expected to go back down after that, but we could still see a long-term impact from this because experts say healthcare prices tend to keep going up even at a slower rate.
It shows up in your premium. And that's to me why it can be so difficult for a consumer to deal with this, is that it not only affects your monthly costs in terms of your premium share. Let's say you're getting your coverage to your employer, you're going to see your payroll deductions increase, and they have increased more quickly than wage gains for quite a few years.
Paul Seegerd works with a health benefits consulting firm. He says your plan may not cover as much as it used to.
As a consumer, we have to learn to consume better. Even when you have an insurance plan and you have a set deductible and a set copay for a certain procedure, different providers may charge wildly different amounts for that procedure. And we do have to get better at consuming healthcare like we do other things.
He also recommends setting more money aside for healthcare now if you can, to prepare for what you're going to need in retirement. The report finds you shouldn't expect the cost of living adjustments in Social Security and Medicare to keep up with the increase in healthcare costs. There's a new treatment protecting people with peanut allergies ahead in our lineup, how it could help with other food allergies in the future. Our country can't reach its renewable energy goals without replacing fossil fuels. But research shows an overlap between where existing fossil fuel infrastructure is and where the greatest solar and wind generation is. Vanessa Machanya found how fossil fuel communities can benefit from energy transitions.
Valmy plant is the last coal-fired plant in the state of Nevada, and it's been on the blocks for probably 10 years to be decommissioned.
Through the black smoke, Jan Morrison tells me she can see the potential buried in this relic of fossil fuel past.
So you're not talking about taking an infrastructure and basically turning it into a rusty facility. It's going to be vibrant, and it's going to be a vital part of our energy grid.
This is the Valmy coal plant in Humboldt County, where Morrison is the economic development officer. She says the plant will be turning into a solar farm. What makes it desirable for that is location, location, location.
It is miles and miles and miles of desert. It's a perfect opportunity to develop solar fields.
According to Brookings, a lot of existing fossil fuel infrastructure like the Valmy plant happens to be where the strongest potential for renewable energy generation lies. Another plus of transitioning existing infrastructure to renewables, the connections are already there.
It has the infrastructure on the Western grid. I mean, it is a major hub. When you look at all the investment into that, why would you let that go?
According to the Environmental and Energy Study Institute, in 2019, the nation saw the second highest number of coal plant closures, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics say coal mining employment has dropped by more than half since 2012. Switching existing infrastructure to renewables can help save jobs, but for many communities, the switch is not easy, as cost is a major factor. The billions of dollars in the infrastructure bill should bring more incentives for these transitions, hopefully allowing a majority of the 1.7 million people who work in fossil fuels to keep their jobs.
People don't realize in a rural area how renewable energy friendly we already are.
As for Morrison, she's excited that her community gets to be on the front lines of the transition to a greener future.
The concept of renewable energy is very welcome out here. And then you step into the larger picture and everybody, of course, gets it.
I'm Vanessa Machanya.
As we take a look outside, you can see things are pretty cloudy here across the area, and we're probably going to stay mostly cloudy for the remainder of this evening as well. There could be a sprinkle or two coming out of these clouds, but the overall rain chances, well, not all that high. You can see a little bit of green showing up here, but again, these are few and far between, and a lot of this is just some false return. But we will be seeing at least the potential for a few sprinkles from time to time as moisture values continue to go up in the lowest levels of the atmosphere, but there's really no major disturbances approaching from the west that will initiate shower and thunderstorm potential. We have some thunderstorms initiating here across the mountains of Mexico, but those will stay well to the west of us for tonight. And checking out what we are tracking for you, yep, the clouds will be back as we head into the morning hours with cloudy skies. Again, this likes to overdo when there's higher moisture content in the atmosphere, so maybe some patchy drizzle, and that's about it. Then as we get into Friday afternoon, partly cloudy skies and temperatures soaring into the mid to upper 80s. And we'll do it again on Saturday, maybe some drizzle in the morning and partly cloudy skies in the afternoon as temperatures warm up. And yes, it will still be breezy with 15 to 25 mile per hour winds each day. So tonight, temperatures will make their way down into the upper 60s and low 70s. So a muggy start to the day tomorrow. And then we'll see highs into the mid to upper 80s as we get into the afternoon hours Friday. So a warm day on the way there, and it will stay warm into your weekend. 87's the number here, and lows at night close to 70 as we're pretty much stuck over the next 3 days, pretty much in the same pattern. Could be an isolated storm chance late Sunday, but I think the majority of this will start to move in on Monday, going into Monday night and early Tuesday morning with highs into the 70s. Then it warms up after that.
As the nation faces a shortage of special education teachers, Hawaii may have found the solution. In 2020, the state started paying special ed teachers $10,000 more a year than other teachers. Since then, shortage numbers have been cut in half. Detroit has also seen success with the same tactic. But the National Education Association says to fix this problem nationally, schools need to get what's been promised by the federal government. 40% of special education costs are supposed to be covered under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. But in 2020, the NEA found the government only contributed 13%. For millions of people with food allergies, going out to eat can come with risks. One of the most common food allergies involves peanuts. About 1 in 50 children have it. It's a number that's tripled since 2010. But as Maya Rodriguez tells us, a new treatment is bringing hope that peanut allergies and possibly other food allergies may one day become a thing of the past.
For the Ung family, travel once seemed out of reach because eating out while traveling carried great risk for their daughter Stella, who faced a severe allergy to peanuts.
When she was 18 months old, the first doctor that we met, he was like, oh no, is this for life?
But Stella's mom, Julie, says that's no longer the case after Stella participated in a clinical trial in Australia that put her peanut allergy into remission.
Once she achieved remission, we shortly after we booked a holiday to Thailand because it was one of the countries we've been avoiding previously. Just in general, Thai cuisine's got a lot of peanuts in your food, but yeah, so we were able to just travel and not have the fear. Yeah, not have the fear.
How did that happen? Krhd, an Australian biotech company, developed an oral treatment that administers doses of peanut protein. In a clinical trial on children under the age of 10, after 18 months, they found 23% of the children became far less sensitive to peanuts. And beyond that, more than half, 51%, achieved remission of their peanut allergy.
And what we mean by remission is where you can't show a clinical evidence of peanut allergy.
Dr. Mimi Tang is CEO of Krhd and an allergy specialist at Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne. She says remission translates into being able to eat a bag of peanut M&Ms. And in the future, the treatment could possibly be applied to other food allergies.
What would need to be developed, however, is the right dosing schedule.
The company hopes to bring a clinical trial next to the U.S. About 32 million Americans have a food allergy. Aside from peanuts, the most common are milk, eggs, wheat, shellfish, and soy.
We really have a lot of work to do to identify these patients who will respond well to therapy.
Dr. Drew Bird is with the Division of Allergy Immunology at UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas. He was not involved in the Krhd clinical trial for peanut allergies, but studied the findings, which have been published in the Lancet Medical Journal.
What the investigators also reported, though, which is very encouraging, is that the health-related quality of life of patients was quite improved, especially in those who had that long-lasting benefits.
That includes Stella, who has been in remission from her peanut allergy for several years now.
Sometimes at school, kids bring in like cupcakes, and my teacher would always check if there was a peanut ingredient in it. But now that I don't have to worry too much about it, I can eat freely.
It's like a COVID booster, but she's got a peanut booster.
And peace of mind. I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Cool story there, Maya. Thank you for that. A final check of the lineup. We're looking into a new resource that could make the workplace more diverse, how it's helping recruit and hire Hispanic Americans. Non-American travelers entering the U.S. through Canada or Mexico will have to continue showing proof of vaccination. DHS extended those COVID-19 vaccine requirements today. It says the move is meant to reduce serious illness and the likelihood of new COVID variants emerging. Well, according to census data, the U.S. Hispanic population reached more than 62 million in 2020. They accounted for more than half of the country's total growth over the last decade. Hispanic Americans are also moving into new places, as you can see in this map from Pew Research. Yet there's still a lack of representation in the workforce.
When you look across senior level roles across, for example, corporate America, Latinos represent 4%, and for women, Latinas, it's 1%. And so there's a need to really accelerate that, being that the community is huge economic contributors, looking at a 1.7 trillion purchasing power.
We're smart individuals, be able to perform at high levels. And I think the one thing, especially through my career, my journey, was given an opportunity.
Carlos Garcia is now Vice President of Finance at the Berea Restaurant Group. He credits his rise in leadership to long-standing company culture around diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And as a Latino myself, a proud Latino, I'm very comfortable, showcasing who I am in terms of my heritage, what my religion, the different things that I'm used to growing up as a Latino, and I'm very comfortable in the organization that I'm in now.
Garcia also did leadership training through the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement. He's now part of the team and networking with about 1,000 others over the next few days at the organization's 40th anniversary event. Now, these are pictures they shared. Their goal is to create a pipeline of Latino talent and increase representation and inclusion.
I always say we're Latino is serving organization, not Latino exclusive. And so we invite everyone to be part of this movement that's critical more than ever, right? To ensure that we're building inclusive, equitable spaces, not only in our workplaces, but in our communities that we represent.
The event is hybrid, so you can join virtually and learn how to work with the organization at haceonline.org. Well, you may like the idea of getting a tattoo, but don't want to be stuck with the image on your body years later. Tattoo removal may not be your only option anymore. Tomorrow, the new type of ink made to fade within a year that's coming to cities across the country.
World News Tonight is just ahead, and we're back in 30 minutes for KRHD News at 6. Until then, have a good evening.